Dear listener, I'm Yeskhodzhaeva, a lecturer at the Faculty of Philology, Department of Modern Language and Translation Studies. Today we will explore a fascinating field of linguistic typology, examining the classification of languages based on structural and functional characteristics. Understanding typology not only deepens our knowledge of diversity, but also enhances our ability to analyze and compare different language systems. Let us delve into this intriguing lecture together. The first lecture, Subject and the Aim of Typological Studies. And the plan of our lecture, Introduction to the course and the General and Special Typology. Introduction to the course. The word typology has Greek origin and is derived from two words, typos, form, and the logos, study, which means form, study. In Russian, отпечаток, форма, образец, and the слово учение. Linguistic typology is the comparative studying of the structural and the functional peculiarities of the languages, independently from the character of the genetic relations between them. Typology is one of the two main aspects of language learning, together with comparatively historic, genetic, and aspect which is different from the ontologically by significant characteristics feature of the researcher's subject, and epistemologically by complex of principles and devices, methods of study. Investigating different languages, namely English or Russian and Kazakh, one can easily find out similar features in most of them, so they are kindred and non-kindred language. At the same time, it should be noted that from a structural point of view, language belong to one and the same genetic group, differing from each other. Genetic structural features are found in most various languages belong to different language groups. Being one of the Indo-European languages, English is the most spread language in the world today. It's difficult today to find a man contesting the necessity of having a good command of English. It's useful to know it not only for reading the press, seeing the films, and listening to the popular music. A half of the humanity speaks English, and that is 100 millions of men. Approximately 75% of all scientific papers are published in English. 70% of world's mail is written in English. It's also the language of shipping and air travel. The English language is the first or joint first language in 70 countries, while French is spoken in 34 countries and Arabic is spoken in 23 countries. About 500 million people speak English as a first or joint first language. This is 10% of world population. English is also spoken as a second language by another 300 million people. It's estimated that 25% of Chinese, 1 billion millions in England, thousands of millions in the USA. 200 million population are studying English. The merest estimate of the number of people in the world who can speak English is about 2 billion out of 6 billion. Furthermore, we'll deal with typological studies of such rich languages like English, Kazakh, and Russian. For instance, in English, in German, and in some other Germanic language, we can meet a lot of words of common root, such as mother in English and der Mutter in German, father in English and der Vater in German, they in English and der Tag in German, water in English and das Wasser in German, door in English and der Tür in German, ana in Kazakh and ein in Turkish. Language classification. Language classification divided into two, genetic and typological. Languages share linguistic properties because they are genetically related. Historically, they evolve from the same parent language. Typological classification are based on shared formal characteristics of language, irrespective of their origin, properties of sound, word, sentence. General typology studies language type of the general problem, showing similar and different features and types in language. Characteristic system of separate language, language universals, language isomorphism, and in other words, general typology investigates general properties, change process in language belong to different language group or families. The way of expressing the category of definiteness and indefiniteness in English, Russian, and the Kazakh. The vowel system in English and the Kazakh word order in English and the Kazakh, etc. A special typology investigates a problem which are more limited or restricted. As it's mentioned by most scholars, special typology is of great importance from practical point of view. Here we are going to determine typological characteristics of the English language in comparison with Kazakh. This kind of typological investigation may be called comparative typology of foreign and native language. So the aim of our course is to teach students to determine the main typological features of language, English and the Kazakh languages, to show the methods helping to compare the elements of English language which are absent in the native one. Here is the similarities in languages. Peculiarities of Kazakh and the English phonetic system. Phonetics is a study of human sounds in general without saying what function which sounds may have in particular language. Kazakh has vowel harmony, the front vowels, natural vowels, and back vowels. Front vowels a, ye, I, o, natural vowels I, u, and the back vowels a, o. Structural differences. Languages may belong to the same genetic group but still exhibit structural variation. Despite being Germanic English and German shows differences in word order, articles, use, and noun cases. General structural features are also found in most various languages, belong to quite different language groups. For example, attributive phrase in which the adjectives precedes the noun without agreement exists in English, Turkish, Mongolian, Chinese, and Japanese. The difference of Kazakh and English diphthongs. The English diphthong does not have similar combination in the Kazakh language. The English language is a separate phoneme and it's part of the vowels. Here you can see I, A, O, E, E. Front of the English diphthongs can be likened to some combination of vowels in Kazakh. I, moon, soy, cat, O, network. But such English diphthongs as ear, o does not have similar combination in the Kazakh language. The global importance of English. English is spoken by over 72 billion people worldwide and dominates scientific research, international business, and media. It is the official language of 70 countries and serves as a lingua franca in many global contexts. General and special typology. General typology investigates language types, the most general features of the language structure, usually in relation to a definite aspect: sound structure, morphological structure, syntactical structure of the sentence. Special comparative typology studies separate aspects and elements of language structure. Here we distinguish between phonetic, morphological, semantic, stylistic, typology, with which the investigation can be narrower typology of phonetic system of world building models, world orders, separate grammatical categories such as number, tense, mood, etc. Each object of investigation forms a category of comparison. Here is you can see general and special. Here is the grammatical distinctions between English and the Kazakh. In English, world order, subject, verb, object. In Kazakh, subject, object, and verb. For example, I see the book, men kitapты көріп тұрмын, and use definite and indefinite articles, a and the. In Kazakh does not use articles. And for example, she is reading a book, ол кітап оқып жатыр. And in English, a limited use of case, for example, nominative, accusative, genitive, etc. And in Kazakh, extensive use of case, nominative, accusative, genitive, dative, and ablative. In conclusion, we want to say, so the branch of linguistics which investigates a grouping of language according to the main essential characteristics, features, and revealing general appropriateness of different language is called typological linguistics. Typological linguistics also studies the type of language and the type of language structure. According to its object and aim, typology is conditionally divided into general and special typology. Linguistic typology provides insight into language structure, their connection, and their role of global communication. Understanding typology enhances multilingual proficiency and linguistic awareness. Now, thank you for your attention.